Alright, welcome back. We're continuing on with the work on Project Marsha. In this episode, we're going to start doing our jams. We got our trunk to get ready for epoxy paint and color coat, and also the application of the lizard skin to the inside of this quarter panel. This is the one that was replaced on the car, and it wasn't prepped properly the last time, and the undercoating they had on there just flaked right off. So we've got everything prepped out right. We're going to go ahead and spray that with the lizard skin so we can deaden the sound here on it somewhat and give it that factory appearance. We're also going to get our door jambs ready to have those cut in and painted. So sit back and watch and see how we get this done. Well, we've got our door jambs epoxy primed, and also our trunk area is done. So now everything is prepped and ready for the application of the lizard skin. So the lizard skin is going to be applied in the trunk area, mainly on the insides of the quarter panels here, so it'll replicate to a degree the factory application that they did back on these cars. And so it'll have that factory look. So we'll spray that on there first, and then that'll be ready for the top coat of the B3 blue color that will go in there, and we'll spray the entire trunk area, insides of the quarters, over top of that lizard skin, and we'll do the opening area, the rain gutter area of the trunk. And we're also going to do the back panel here, and we'll do the door jambs on both sides, and that'll leave these areas finished up and jammed out. So you see the paper I've got here around to everything. I did say that this car will get another sanding before the final paint goes on it. So you might ask, well, why do you go through the trouble of masking all that off where you're spraying your jams at? Mainly because the less paint there is to sand, the quicker the sanding goes. It doesn't take that long to throw a little bit of paper and tape on here. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just something to keep the majority of the overspray off of the adjoining areas where you're jamming. And this down here, of course, we don't want to spray our exhaust pipe and filler neck. We want to keep those from getting paint on them. But this just keeps the overspray amount down. Anything that gets over here is going to be more of a drier spray, and it'll come off pretty easy. But this, where it joins right where we're going to be laying the paint on, would get pretty thick. So I'd spend extra time, especially with 400 grit, trying to sand most of that down. Alright, I'm back working on getting the jams done on the Fury. So I've got everything ready here. Laid out to mix up my color and get it mixed up for spraying into the trunk area and the door jambs. What I've got here is I'm using the PPG Shop Line color base coat, and you can see it's this nice poly blue color. It's the original B3 color of the car. We're going to reduce it with some 885 reducer, which is a mid-temp reducer. I tend to use that year-round. It works out best for me. But I'm also going to mix in this DX57, which is a base coat activator. And what that does is it helps to give the base coat a little bit more toughness and durability where there's areas that aren't clear coated, because in the trunk of the car we're not going to be clear coating the sides of the inner quarter panels, the wheel wells, the trunk floor itself, where a mat most likely will go. So it will help that paint be a little bit more durable without having the protection of the clear coat on it. Now the door jambs and the trunk opening and the rear panel area on the trunk will get a clear coat on it, so that will have extra protection that way. But I didn't want to do any clear on the inner quarters and the trunk floor. Mainly, one of the reasons was too that it's usually not as glossy a finish as the outside of the car, so I wanted to keep that gloss factor down on those areas, and having that base coat activator in there will help make sure that it's protected better. Okay, I've got my base color on, and I just wanted to bring you back before I do the clear coat just to show you the difference of having the base coat activator mixed in versus not having it mixed in, and what the finish looks like. So what happens with the base coat activator, it actually gives the base coat a little bit of a shine, not very much, just enough, and then it helps protect it, as opposed to what we have here on the outside, where this dulls out a lot more versus how this gets a shiny finish to it. Alright, it's the next day, and we've let our clear coat set up. So we've got our jambs on the car cut in all around our trunk opening. We've got the inside of the trunk done. We've got our rear tail panel done. We finished up on the door openings. We've got our door shells done. And our door jambs. Now I didn't do all the way up into here because this is really time consuming to get scuffed to paint, and the paint really wasn't in bad shape. And this is kind of where the blend is right in here, and I think it's a pretty good match to the original color. So we'll go around and take a look at the driver's side. And here's our driver's side door. Again, I taped off our VIN sticker that's on all the 70 and up model cars so that was present still. And again, we got our door jambs all done, and again the same thing on this side. I just kind of blended our paint in here in the corner, which made everything look nice. So we got these jambs done. Next thing we got to work on here, I've been cleaning up the front valance, and I've got a little bit of work to do on this. A couple small dents I'm going to fill, and I'm going to do the back side with some Pour 15 just to coat it and clean it up so that the rust will not be as present. And then we've got the underside of the trunk lid there. We've got we've got all these pieces here. We've got our quarter extensions and our fender extensions to do. All of our side marker surrounds, our hood inserts, and the last piece we're going to get prepped up here is the underside of this hood, which is going to be a chore knowing where to stop at, because honestly this hood needs to be taken up and the underside of it blasted, but we don't have time for that, nor the budget, and this is supposed to be a budget job. So what we're probably going to do is clean up around these edges here and in the front part and along the back, and here in the center part we've got holes for retainer clips where a under hood pad should be, and there should have been one on this car because this is an undercoat car and all undercoat cars got an under hood pad. So that will be left as is, and Kevin will have to procure a under hood pad or have one made up. There's a company here local in Mooresville that does padding that's of the same type material, and it's a cut to fit type deal, so he could always get something there and make up a pad for it. Well, here's all the parts all ready to get epoxy primer set on them. I spent most of the afternoon getting the bottom side of this hood cleaned up as best I can. It should come out pretty good. I got most of everything cleaned up on it. Our trunk lid is in here. Bottom side is going to get some epoxy on it. We've got our side marker surrounds there. hood inserts, some bolts that need to be colored, all of our fender extension caps and our quarter panel extensions, trunk striker, and the front valance. So all these parts will get epoxy on them tonight. It'll get set up overnight, and I'll come out tomorrow morning and we'll lay the color on. All right, after another late night, all these parts are epoxy primed and they're ready for color coat. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get everything colored and cleared, so these parts are all cut in and ready to be put back on the car. Now these parts will be finished here, these fender extensions and the quarter extensions and all of our marker surrounds and the hood insert pieces. But the trunk lid here and also the hood, oh, and the valance will be finished too. The hood will have to be flipped over, and I have to do final sand on the hood. I've still got to do final prime on the trunk lid, and then both of those can be sanded and they'll be ready for final paint. So they'll be painted separately off the car, just for the sheer fact that this car is so wide. I don't feel like I'd be able to reach the center of the hood in order to get the paint to lay out properly without showing some stripage in it. So I'm going to paint it off the car and then we'll install it after everything else is completed. So I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up on time lapse so you can watch me paint again. It's been a while since I've let you watch me paint anything, but we'll go ahead and get that set up and we'll get these parts colored and cleared. Parts, the underside parts that needed to be jammed in before we can get to shooting the body of Project Marsha. I wanted to get all these pieces and parts done first so they're out of the way. I can put these all away now and we'll get back on the body. We've got our final sand to do with the DA with 400 grit, and that'll leave that nice and smooth and ready for the color and clear coat application. So that's going to be the end of this video. We're going to move on next to the final paint on Marsha and then the reassembly of the car and getting the new top put on, and hopefully everything will be finished up in the next couple weeks so we can have the car at the Mo Party Show in Bowling Green, Kentucky, September 13th through the 15th. Again, this may come out before the car goes, may come out afterwards. I'm not sure just how these things are going to fall yet. I've got to spend the time working on the car, so I don't have as much time to sit down and edit video right now, but I want to make sure everything is documented as we go along the process so you can see how I go about getting the car painted and ready to have its final paint job done. So thanks again for following along. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Mopar Connection magazine at www.moparconnection.com, where you can find all the videos on Project Marsha, Also on my channel here at All Classics Restoration, you'll find all the videos for this project and all the other projects we work on. Thanks again, we'll see you soon.